Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. I will be your host, Thrones, bringing you another role-playing build known as the Capture DreadHorn, or the DreadHorn, or the DreadHorn Hunter. I'll see. The DreadHorn clan was a rich folk group of the Cap 2 origins that was active in the Second Era. They made an alliance with a powerful Minotaur warlord, Domihaus the Bloody Horned, whatever. After forming the alliance, they uncovered the long-forgotten Blood Forge, etc., etc., allure. Basically, my builds are role-playing builds intended for a specifically niche casual playstyle, questing around and all around normal content. It's not made for veteran content, it's not made for venture trials, it's not made for anything, and I mean anything difficult related. The whole build is centered about three aspects. The first aspect is going with a quote-unquote Minotaur aesthetic. The second would be going with a werewolf, and the third one would be the reach folk, quote-unquote. So basically the DreadHorn. So we're gonna combine those three aspects into a single build with this build. So the DreadHorn, as I said, they're basically reach folk that are with the Minotaur, so yeah, good stuff. We're going with a Breton because the Bretons are usually the race related with the reach folk. We're going with a Dragonknight because the Dragonknight abilities have a really similarity when it comes to Minotaurs themselves. So yeah, those two combining into one, not bad idea. We went full stamina. And we're also werewolf. I forgot again the Thief's Stone, pardon me, and my little two brain cells. For the skills, we went with Molten Whip as one spammable and Stone Giant as the other spammable. We also went with Shattering Rocks to stun the enemy, Igneous Shield for a little bit of shields around us, rocks and rocks. We're trying to avoid using Draconic abilities because it doesn't reflect the Minotaurs quite well. And Flames of Oblivion for having Major Prophecy and Savagery, increasing our spell and weapon critical rating. One bar would be Werewolf, because we are a werewolf. And now for the second bar, we went Burning Embers. The only skill we're gonna go with, I mean, it's not the only skill, but we're using it for the heals, that's it. We also went with Eruption and Unstable Wall of Fire because we're going with it, Destruction stuff, even though we're a stamina. I like the Destruction stuff because it reflects the Reach Folk type of Mystic Sea, magic related to nature, witchcraft, etc., etc. We also went with Molten Armaments, giving us Major Brutality and Sorcery, and Flames of Oblivion again for the Major Prophecy and Savagery for being slaughtered. For the ultimate, we went Magma Shell. Now then, for the skill, for the gear. Yeah, the first set and the most important one would be the Belharza. It increases the damage of our light attacks by 900. When you deal damage with a consecutive, so basically if you keep doing light attacks without using skills in between, you gain a stack of Belharza's Temper for 10 seconds up to 5 stacks. At 5 stacks you consume it, and then after 1 second you summon basically a Minotaur that charges at enemies. It's a fun, definitely lovely mythic. The second one would be Iron Blood, which I went with the second bar. The reason why I went with Iron Blood, because you will see it a lot of Minotaurs, well, not a lot, but definitely Domihaus, the main antagonist of Falkreath Hold, used this to turn himself into stone or whatever. This one will turn us into iron, and when you take damage you have a 10% to turn into that same one. And I limit it on my back bar so I can quote-unquote control it a little bit when it gets to a tricky situation. For the second set, we went with Nirn, Pillar of Nirn. It basically, when you deal damage, you create a fissure underneath the enemy, and it will summon this one rocky thing, which Minotaurs usually summon. And this will deal a lot of bleed damage. This is also considered as a quote-unquote meta set these days. So, it's quite strong, but I don't really care. I just care about the effects. Another alternative, if you don't like Iron Blood and don't want to transmutate, your jewelry or whatever, you can go with Red Mountain for a little bit of lava, or you can go with Kinross on 5 armor pieces with Pillar of None and the other piece, and then I don't know how wide that was actually. Then we will have to drop out our monster set. Or if you can, you know, you can go back bar and Pillar of None, just proc it out, then go on front bar with going Kinross, because Kinross himself was or is a Minotaur from the Swan dungeon in Black Drake Villa. Yeah. Very nice. And for the monster set, we went Dummy House. When it deals damage, you create a 10-meter ring of earth and fire, which is from, you know, Dummy House itself. While standing within the ring, you get 300 weapon and spell damage, and it can only occur every once 15 seconds, so it has a 70 to 75% uptime. And yeah. Ideally, you want the back stuff to go infused with a weapon and spell damage enchantment. For the front bar, maybe the fire enchantment, definitely. Bloodthirsty on all three would be the best one, best course of action. Everything medium here, enchant with stamina, and I went also one heavy chest piece because I went with the Iron Blood, you know. So, yeah, to make it useful. And now, to preview the effects, let's first try to proc Iron Blood. Let's take some damage. Come on, boy. Yeah, it is at 10%, so it's really hard to proc, but the more enemies there are, the more of a chance it's going to proc. That's Dummy House, and we turned into iron. Really shiny and Dummy House around us. Now, that would be the Pillar of None, basically a rock that just explodes and that's it. We can stun our enemies, because why not? And then whip them if we want to. We want to use rocks as well. Now let's find a single enemy we can proc our Mythicon. Yeah, let's try this one. 1, 2, 3. When you have stacks from the Belharza, you're gonna get these fiery horns, as from a Minotaur, and that would be the Minotaur. Yeah. And yeah, we're also a werewolf, so while we're in werewolf form, we can do all of that as well. We're gonna have that ring of fire, we're gonna do the pillar thingy, we're gonna have the horns from Belharza. Yeah, mine is not optimized yet, but it's definitely fun to play around as a werewolf with all of these quote-unquote Minotaur blood inside of this wolf. Sounds edgy, but definitely lovely, for sure. Yeah, no more enemies, cause reasons. Anyways, any alternatives? As I said, Kinross instead of maybe Iron Blood. Maybe you can also rock on the Minotaur set on your back bar. When you roll dodge through an enemy, it basically knocks them down and all of that. And yeah, for the CP, green tree, speed, potions, food. Blue tree, rifle strikes, fighting finesse, master at arms, deadly aim. Red tree, health, armor, stamina per kill, and magicka and health recovery per stage while sprinting. Why that? Because we sprint quite a bit. As a werewolf we can always have that heal over on, and because we are a stamina build and still use quite a lot of magicka skills actually. We have like unstable wall, fire, eruption, burning embers, molten armaments, oblivion, all of that is magicka. This one's 50-50, but like 70% of our skills are actually magicka related, so the extra magicka recovery is definitely useful. And for the fashion, we went with the cap to, you know, mount and pet, but you can go, if you have the DreadHorn one, would be much better, if you have the DreadHorn wolf. For the skin, we went with the DreadHorn. With the body marks, we also went with the DreadHorn. For the fashion piece, guess what? We went with the DreadHorn. I believe I went everything medium except the helmet. The helmet I went with the light one because I do love the DreadHorn light one more than the medium one, but you can always go with the medium one as well if you like it more, or the heavy one if you like it even more. But personally, I really enjoyed this one. You can always slot on the Minotaur himself with the hoodie if you prefer it, but I find the face markings really ugly on the DreadHorn. I just like the body pieces, and that's it. You can go with the Minotaur medium, I guess. That's also quite nice. But yeah, weapons themselves also. For the dice I went with Windhelm Steel, and Windhelm Steel for some pieces, Cold Harbor Ash for some of these grey pieces, and it's really hard to dye these pieces because the dye is really not blending in that nicely, and the Sigil Orange just to reflect that we're also a Dragonknight. And yeah, Werewolf, Minotaur, Werewolf. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.